Do you want to marry someone who's rich? Do you want to marry someone who's a provider, someone who pays all of the bills, someone who buys you all of these gifts? Do you? Because it seems like everyone nowadays wants to marry rich. Everyone wants to marry wealthy. But what happened to the girls and the guys who wanted to become rich themselves? To the girls and the guys who wanted to make their own money? Where did they go? So today, as someone who works in finance, I'm going to be telling you and showing you why it's so important that you become your own rich partner first. Okay? Are you the center of your universe? Okay, so I want you to ask yourself this question very honestly. But who is the main character in your life? Who is it? Because logically speaking, we know that it should be ourselves, and a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm the main character energy." But who is the main character in your life? Because you see, when finding a rich husband or finding a rich wife becomes someone's main goal, they make one big mistake. They stop being the center of their universe, where suddenly everything that they do is about attracting a rich husband or attracting a rich wife. Literally everything. Their whole life starts revolving around a person that doesn't even exist in their life yet. And that's why it's so important. We need to all think of our life like a solar system, where in your life you are the sun. Everything else just revolves around you. Your dreams, your goals, your growth, that should always be your first priority. You should always be your first priority. But when you are focused on finding someone rich, you are no longer your first priority. You are no longer the sun in your life. You just become a random planet that's trying to fall into someone else's orbit. A random planet that is waiting for someone else's sun to give you light and to give you warmth. None of us want to live that way. We're so much more than that. So remember, your life should revolve around you, not the idea of someone saving you. You are the center of your life. You are the main character. You are capable of making money. So start believing it, okay? Looking for safety in other people. Why do you think people want to marry rich? Why do you think it is? Because some people might say, oh, it's because they're lazy or because they're shallow. But that's not the real fundamental reason. People want to marry rich because they're looking for safety. They're not just looking for money, but they're looking for safety. Where when you grow up with financial stress, when you see your family and your parents struggle day after day in, day out, it leaves a mark on you. And for a lot of people, they end up carrying that fear into adulthood. And as an adult, you don't go looking for love or for romance like most adults do because of what we've seen in Disney films or whatever. But you go looking for safety. You go looking for safety in other people. The way I like to think about it is that it's like wearing someone's coat. Like the weather's cold, you're freezing, and someone says, okay, like here's my coat. You can wear it to keep warm. But as soon as they take that coat back, you're freezing again. And it's because that coat isn't yours. It doesn't belong to you. You don't have your own coat. And it's the exact same with money. You should always work towards having your own money because no one can take that away from you. So, of course, we want to be with someone who makes us feel safe emotionally, physically, financially. Of course, that's the bare minimum. But if someone else's support, if their money, if their words, if their actions are the only reason that you feel safe, then you aren't safe. You aren't safe. That's not a true feeling of safety. As deep down, your body will always know that they can leave, they can change. So always remember that real safety is what you build for yourself. Real safety is what you get to keep for yourself. Your assets, your skills, your character, your spirit, that is all a part of building a real foundation of safety. Wanting to be rescued keeps you broke. There was this girl I knew a few years ago, and she was so incredibly smart, she was so incredibly intelligent, and we were really close at the time. And I remember she told me, Mahad, I want to marry a multimillionaire. That's my goal. I want to marry a multimillionaire. And I told her, I believe you can do it. You're smart, you're intelligent, you're charismatic. I don't expect anything less from you. But what ended up happening is that she made this goal her everything, where she disregarded other parts of her life and her own potential as an individual. So many years have passed now. She's now in her 30s. I don't even like saying this because it makes me upset, but she's now in her 30s, still wanting to find someone to look after her and provide for her. And I just think to myself, there are so many people that end up in that position. There are so many people who have so much potential, who could have had completely different lives by now, but they don't. And they don't because they decided to center men or center women and center romance instead of centering themselves. And I'm not judging her or judging anyone who decides to pursue this because I understand it. I understand it completely. I understand it. But life is so fleeting, and I don't think for any of us we want to live a life where our potential is wasted. Like, humans are so amazing. Why do we waste our potential? And there's something I remember this American YouTuber saying, her name's Aaliyah J. She said this a few years ago and it really, really stuck with me. But she said, "You will never lose a man chasing a bag, but you will lose a bag, several bags chasing a man." And this doesn't just apply to women who are dating men, it applies to everyone. Because romance is important, love is important, but when you center it too much, when you make it the focus of your life, it keeps you broke. It does every single time. And the funny thing is that you actually find better relationships when you center yourself, when you focus on yourself. You have access to better quality people or better quality relationships. Dependency comes with a price. In finance, we have the saying that there's no such thing as a free lunch. And basically what it means is that everything has a cost. Even if you can't see the cost, everything has a cost. Because when you completely rely on someone for money or to be provided for, you give up your power. That's the cost. That's what you're paying. That's how you're paying for it. As it doesn't matter how amazing your partner is, how kind they are, the power dynamics in your relationship are still off. And that's a very, very dangerous position to be in, because whoever controls the money, they essentially control the relationship. So then what happens if they change? What happens if they leave you? You end up being stuck. That's what happens. For example, the other day I saw this video of this woman, and I think she was in her 50s or something. And she was basically talking about how she was married to this man. They were married for 20 years. They had an amazing marriage. And then one day, he just randomly decided to leave her. He left her, and he left her with absolutely nothing. And the reason he was able to leave her with nothing is because she let him control the finances. She didn't even look at the finances. He said, "Okay, I'm going to look after you. I'm going to provide for you. Like, you don't have to worry about anything, baby." That's what he said to her. But then when he decided to leave her, he left her with nothing because nothing was in her name. None of the assets were in her name. So now this 50-year-old woman is here looking for jobs because her husband just left her with nothing. Her husband deceived her. Do you understand how crazy that is? And it makes me so upset because stuff like that shouldn't happen. But it happens more than you would think. So always remember that, of course, we want to marry someone who is financially stable or rich. Like, of course, that's what we want, because we want a good life for our families and for ourselves. It's completely normal. But the goal was never to depend on them. The goal was always to have our own money, to have our own assets, to have our own skills and investments. That was always the goal. Where in this position, you have options. If someone isn't treating you well, you can leave. If you want to do something, you don't have to ask for permission to do it. Where in this position, your partner simply adds to your life. You aren't dependent on them. You don't need them to live. Marrying rich is a byproduct of becoming rich. Okay, so whoever's watching this video, I can imagine that you are probably smart, probably ambitious, probably a go-getter like me. We're go-getters, yay! And when you know how amazing you are, or when you know how many positive traits you have, of course you're going to have standards. Of course you should date and want to marry someone who has success and have money, like of course. But what people don't realize is that when you begin to build your own success first, when you begin to upgrade your life and become better and achieve more, you naturally will start attracting people who are at that level anyways. For example, for me, I'm building my own career, I'm building my own money, I'm a very ambitious person. So of course my future husband has to have money. Of course he has to have some sort of level of financial success because I expect that from myself also. But the difference here will be that it won't be because I need to be saved or I need their money, but it will be because I value ambition in myself and I value ambition in others. And people who are usually ambitious have some level of success. So for all of you guys watching, like I just know, like I don't know you individually, but I know that you probably have like a lot of potential. So really start focusing on building your own success first. Really start focusing on just becoming the amazing person that you can first. Because when you do that and when you upgrade your life, your options naturally will just become 10 times better. I promise. And honestly, I think the best part about making your own money or like building your own success isn't even the money or the status, but it's who you become in the process. Because when you shift from wanting to be saved to saving yourself, something shifts. You become more confident, you become more resilient, you become more sure of yourself because you've literally built something from nothing. Where that version of you who was able to build something for themselves We're that version of you who accepted help from other people but never sat around waiting for it. That's worth more than any amount of money. Because money technically can be taken, but who you are and who you become, that's yours forever. It is. Thank you for watching this video, guys. I hope you found it valuable. If you would like more videos like this, make sure you comment down below, because we are going to get our money up, not our funny up.